The NFL coaching carousel never stops spinning, and this latest move might be one of the most shocking turns yet. Eric Bieniemy, once heralded as the next great offensive mind, a man some believed was destined to be an NFL head coach, has just been hired as the running backs coach for the Chicago Bears. Not a head coach, not even an offensive coordinator, a running backs coach. For a guy who called plays for Washington in 2023 and UCLA in 2024, this feels like a staggering fall from grace. But is it really? Is this a death sentence for his career? Or could it be the first step toward a stunning redemption story? Let's break it down: the rise, the fall, and the uncertain future of Eric Bieniemy. For years, Eric Bieniemy was one of the hottest names in NFL coaching circles. As the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, he helped craft one of the most lethal attacks in football history. Patrick Mahomes became a superstar under his watch. Travis Kelce became unguardable. Tyreek Hill became unstoppable. From 2018 to 2022, Bieniemy played a role in 2 Super Bowl victories and 5 consecutive AFC Championship appearances. Yet despite this undeniable success, year after year, he was passed over for head coaching jobs. Some said it was because Andy Reid called the plays, not Bieniemy. Others pointed to rumored issues with player relationships. Whatever the reason, he was stuck. Too successful to be ignored, but never quite able to get that promotion. In 2023, he took a bold leap. He left Kansas City for a chance to run his own offense in Washington, serving as the offensive coordinator and assistant head coach under Ron Rivera. This was supposed to be his moment, the chance to prove he wasn't just a passenger on Andy Reid's magic ride. What happened next was nothing short of a nightmare. Washington's offense in 2023, a train wreck. Worst in the NFL in points per game. Bottom 5 in total yards. Sam Howell regressed into oblivion. The offensive line was a disaster. The Commanders imploded, finishing 4-13, and head coach Ron Rivera was fired. With Rivera gone, so was Bieniemy. No one wanted him. For the first time in his coaching career, Eric Bieniemy was jobless. To make matters worse, while Bieniemy was floundering, his former team, the Chiefs, thrived without him, proving to skeptics that maybe, just maybe, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes were the real masterminds all along. That's how Bieniemy found himself exiled to UCLA in 2024, hoping to resurrect his reputation. When Eric Bieniemy took over as the offensive coordinator at UCLA, it was supposed to be a fresh start, a chance to reinvent himself at the college level. Instead, one season, gone. UCLA's offense wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. In a cutthroat coaching world, that wasn't enough. After just one season, Bieniemy was out once again, his stock lower than ever. At this point, it looked like the unthinkable had happened. Eric Bieniemy's coaching career was dying before our eyes. And then came the Chicago Bears. A demotion or a lifeline? The Bears gamble on Bieniemy. When news broke that Eric Bieniemy had been hired as the Chicago Bears running backs coach, it was shocking. A guy who once designed game plans for Patrick Mahomes is now coaching Khalil Herbert and Roshan Johnson. For most coaches, this would be the final nail in the coffin. A clear demotion. A sign that the NFL no longer believes in you. But could this actually be a brilliant move? Here's why this might be exactly what Bieniemy needs. 1. The back-to-basics strategy. Before he was an offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy was one of the best running backs coaches in the NFL. His track record is elite. Jamal Charles became a superstar under Bieniemy. Kareem Hunt led the NFL in rushing as a rookie. Adrian Peterson in Minnesota. One of the greatest to ever do it. If there's one thing Bieniemy has always excelled at, it's developing running backs. By going back to his roots, he might be able to rebuild his reputation from the ground up. 2. The Ben Johnson effect. The Bears just hired Ben Johnson, one of the brightest offensive minds in football, as their new head coach. For Bieniemy, this is huge. If Johnson turns the Bears' offense into a powerhouse, Bieniemy will be right there, in the room, part of the process. If Chicago succeeds, his name instantly regains value. 3. The chip on his shoulder factor. If there's one thing we know about Eric Bieniemy, it's that he thrives on doubters. This is a guy who has been overlooked for years. Now, he's got something to prove. Expect fire. Expect passion. Expect a guy who's hungry to remind the league exactly who he is. What's next? A crossroads for Bieniemy. This is it. Eric Bieniemy's last shot. If he succeeds in Chicago, if the Bears' running game becomes elite, if the offense clicks, if Ben Johnson thrives, he could be right back in the mix for a bigger role in the future, maybe even a head coaching job someday. But if he fails, if this doesn't work, it's over. There will be no more second chances. The NFL is ruthless, and Eric Bieniemy is already hanging by a thread. Chicago will either be his redemption story or the place where his NFL dreams finally die. The choice is his. Which Eric Bieniemy will we see? The mastermind behind the Chiefs' Super Bowls? Or the coach who couldn't cut it in Washington and UCLA? We're about to find out.